Hi BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I am coming to you with another weekly reads video. This is for week number 41 and it is October the 4th through October the 10th. So, yay. Okay, first things first. I got new hair. Okay, no, it's the same hair I had before, I just colored it. I literally had this done an hour ago, so it's a bit later in the day that I'm filming this. I usually try and film these videos in the morning, which is why I'm sitting in front of my bookcase, because it's just too bright in front of the window if I try and do it later on in the day. So I do apologize for the slightly empty bookshelves behind me. I am still working on organizing all these ones from the massive box of Harlequins that I got about a month or so ago. It's taking a little bit longer for me to get them all organized because, you know, work. So I only have so long on the weekends to be able to do that. But anyway, yeah, so sorry about that. But there will be pictures covering it, so you're not going to necessarily have to look at that. So yeah, so I got my hair dyed. I usually do the chatter part at the end, but whatever. Just because it's pretty obvious to anyone who's been watching me for a while. I'm not blonde anymore. My COVID hair was starting to drive me crazy. I had it bleached back in March to get the red out that I had in there. And of course, because it was growing out, and I didn't want to bleach it again because it does damage your hair over time. So my aunt, it is just a box dye, so my aunt did it. So I'm really, really happy with it. Yeah, I like it. It's going to take a bit of getting used to, but the fall is here. So it's time for, in my opinion, you know, the darker hair, and then, you know, come the spring, I'll put some highlights in it or something fun like that. But anyway, I'm just yammering on. So this was a really good reading week for me this week, and I do have a lot to share with you guys. So as I do these videos every week, I talk about, of course, all the books that I finished this week, and then I talk about what I'm currently reading. And I do have a very small book haul to show you guys. Plus I have an electronic something to show you guys that deals with books. And then I do have some new books that I got this week from Netgalley, so I'll share those with you. And then that's pretty much about it. I've got no knitting to show you guys this week. I haven't been knitting a ton, not enough to show you guys any progress. So I'll show you guys that probably next week. But anyway, so to start off with, oh, and everything is going to be timestamped in the description box below. So if you want to jump ahead to a specific review of a book or to the currently reading portion or whatever it is that you want, feel free to use those timestamps in the description box below. So first of all, I finished 7 books this week, you guys. Not too shabby at all. And I did have one DNF, and I'm going to talk about the DNF right away just to get it kind of out of the way. And the book that I actually DNF'd was a Netgalley read, and it is The Darkness We Hide by Deborah Webb, which I think is the 3rd book in the Undertaker's Daughter series. Now, 2 things. I should have known going in that this book was going to be difficult, a more difficult for me read. And in difficult, I mean I didn't care for the content. I love Deborah Webb. I think she's a fantastic writer. Her books that she has written for the intrigue line for Harlequin are some of my absolute favorites. But what I need to remember, and what I didn't think about, is the fact that with the Harlequin imprints, the intrigue line being one of them, that there is a specific set of rules, if you will, that they need to abide by, that it needs to be a certain length and there's certain things that can't be discussed and whatever. So this is the 3rd book, as I said, in the Undertaker's Daughter series. And so I should have read books 1 and 2 first if I was going to read the series, or if you were going to read the series, I recommend that you do, because I DNF'd this about 30 minutes into the audiobook. So pretty quickly into the book, I decided to DNF it. And because already I was confused, because they discussed a lot of the stuff that happened in the first 2 books, so that doesn't help me at all. And then the other thing was that this one was gruesome. Now, I have read other books by her that she published independently of the intrigue line, still published by Harlequin, but published outside of the category romances or the category imprints. And it was a very gruesome series as well. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'll pop the cover of the first book up here, and I really liked it. It had to do with a serial killer. I know, I loved it. It was to do with a serial killer, but it was gruesome. In terms of violence, it was a bit over the top, like for what I would typically read, but it was still a really enjoyable, like the writing on it was so good. I mean, she is just so good. But this one, and I don't know. See, it's weird. We all have our thresholds of what we can handle. You know what I mean? And for me, it's blood, guts, and gore. Psychological I can do, but blood, guts, and gore, no. I'm not a fan of horror movies for that reason. Like, I think about the Saw movies, and that just creeps me out to no end. But this one, right at the very beginning part of it, was talking about an autopsy and getting a little too graphic about an autopsy. And I'm like, nope, I'm done. I wasn't feeling it. So I put it in my DNF, on my DNF shelf on Goodreads. And I left on my review saying, this was a little bit too graphic for me. Again, some of you might totally be okay with that. It wasn't for me at this time. Now, I do have that DNF shelf, and next year I'm thinking I might pick 1 or 2 books off that DNF shelf and give them another try and see whether or not I enjoy them. So we shall see if it gets picked, because it just might be this wasn't the right time for me to read that book. So anyway, that being said, that was my DNF for the week. So now on to all the books that I did finish this week. So the first one was Shadow Point Deputy by the lovely Joanne Lindsey. I can say she's lovely because I've actually talked to her. My friend Nicole over at Who Picked This Book does a weekly, they pick a book every week, and her and Jen, they both read it, or we all read it. It's kind of a buddy read idea. And then they do a live discussion about the book. And Joanne Lindsey was actually in the comments. And the week before, she had been in the live show with them for another, and it was delightful. She is just an absolute delight. So, and I'm not just saying that I like the book because I really like the author, but I actually gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's a Harlequin intrigue novel, as you can see. I did read this as an ebook. Now, it's book 1. It says it's book 1 in the Garrett Valor series, but it's actually book 3 of another series. So I cannot remember the name of that series. I'll put it right here so you guys can check it out. There are 2 books that come before it, but it was something about that there was another series with a name very similar to it, so she had to change the name of the series or whatever. I personally like Garrett Valor name only because my husband's name is Garrett, so kind of, I like it. So as I said, it's a Harlequin intrigue book. It is number, I'm trying to do this out my glasses, you guys, 1832 in the Harlequin intrigue series. So this was a lot of fun. This one was about a gentleman by the name of Cole and a woman by the name of Rita. And at the very beginning of her novel, actually even before the novel starts, how I knew I was really going to like it, is that the author actually puts in the dedicated to something about all the cat ladies or all the women who love cats or something like that. And I'm like, oh, you're speaking to me. As a cat lover, you're speaking to me. So the book opens up with our friend Rita, our main character Rita, and she is feeding some stray cats that are kind of around this abandoned warehouse. And she witnesses a murder. And Cole is, what is he again? Is he a sheriff in town? Sorry guys, 7 books ago. I'm trying to remember now. Pretty sure something in law enforcement in this small town. And he is going to help her, essentially keep her safe, is the premise of the book. I don't want to get too much into the entire plot that goes on because I went into this one not knowing very much about it. But he is trying to keep her safe. And she is being chased by the person who killed this other person because he knows that she knows. And she has this pen that's got a microchip in it, and she's trying to keep it hidden. And she's got a younger brother that she's trying to keep safe as well. That, she's worried that if they can't catch her, they're going to catch her brother. Something does happen with her brother. This was really, really good. I liked it a lot. You guys know the intrigues are some of my favorites, like right here behind me, as you can see. So this shelf, those are all intrigues. That entire row back there that goes all the way up to the top, and the one beside it as well. Those are all my intrigues. So I do have a lot of them. I do love them so much. I love the romantic suspense. They're a lot of fun. And yeah, so this one I really enjoyed. Like I said, 4 stars. And coming next week, so stay tuned, I will be reading the last book in this series. And I do need to go back and read books 1 and 2. And I'm going to do that. I have bought them now on Kindle, and I'm looking forward to getting to them in the very, very near future. I might even go and read them over the next couple weeks. I'll be kind of reading the series backwards in a way, but it'll work. It'll work out. So the next book that I finished this week was Cherry Cheesecake Murder by Joanne Fluke. This is book number 8 in the Hannah Swenson series. This I listened to on audio, and it was narrated by Susan Torrens. She does a great job. She narrates, I think, all of the Hannah Swenson series, and I just absolutely love it. So the Hannah Swenson series, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it is like It's the OG, the old school cozy mystery series. It's the one that I think a lot of people think about when they think cozy mystery. I want to say it was probably one of the first culinary cozy mystery series out there, because it's been around forever. I mean, this was book 8 that I read, and I think they're up to book 20 something now. So essentially what it is, it's about our main character, Hannah, and she runs a shop in this small town of Lake Eden, Wisconsin. Is it or Minnesota? Minnesota. I feel you need to say it in that accent. I hope I didn't offend anybody from Minnesota. You guys are all lovely. But it's a small town in Minnesota, and her business is called the Cookie Jar, and she keeps stumbling over dead bodies, essentially. So I gave this book 4 stars. I really liked it, but my one thing about this one is the guy who dies doesn't die till like 60% of the way through the book. And then the mystery itself wrapped up relatively quickly, because you only really had 40% to actually deal with the mystery part of it. The bulk of the story was taken up by the fact that there is this indie filmmaker who is coming to town, and he's shutting down Main Street for a week, and he's filming this movie. And a lot of the Lake Eden residents are going to be in the movie, and Hannah has to shut down her shop for the week. And, that was pretty much the main plot of the story. So there wasn't a lot of mystery until we got to like the 50% mark. So, it was cute though, and I did like it. I do love this series so much. If you've never read this one, I do not recommend that you jump in on this one, because there are so many characters, and you kind of really need to get to know the characters in order to really appreciate this book, in my opinion. And especially because it comes right off of book 7, where something happens in book 7, and then it's kind of revealed in this book in a way. Not revealed, but stuff happens. Again, I feel like this is not necessarily a series you need to read from the beginning, but don't start with book number 8 is what I'm trying to say. The next book that I finished, going back to my romance, was The 12 Dogs of Christmas by Lizzie Shane. This book was so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh. It was, as I jokingly said, I think I was reading this on Tuesday night when we did the live read with me with some of the other girls in the romance book chat that I'm part of. And I said, this book is so sweet, my teeth hurt. This was a Netgalley read. It came out in September. So thank you very much to Forever for sending me an e-art copy of this one to review. As I said, I read it on an ebook, excuse me. It's the first book in the Pine Hollow series, which is a small town contemporary that takes place in Vermont. And Vermont is lovely. I do love Vermont very much. And this is the story of Allie and Ben. So essentially what it is Allie's grandparents run a shelter for dogs. And she comes back after her grandmother has an accident and hurts her arm. And she is there to help her grandmother and also help with this shelter. So Ben works for the town council. And there's not a lot of money. There was a roof of some sort of municipal building that caved in due to snow or something like that. So they need to find money in the budget to fix the roof for this municipal thing, this municipal center. And the dog shelter, gets some funding from the city or from the town. So in order to build this new roof, they have to cut funding to the animal shelter. So, of course, Allie is really mad at Ben. She's kind of blaming him because he's the bearer of bad news, and he's the one who ultimately made the decision to fund the money from here to here. And so it is, in a way, an enemies to lovers kind of romance. And what the cute thing is about this story is that Ben feels bad about what's going on. So he agrees to help Allie find home for the 12 dogs, or 13 dogs, in the shelter before Christmas, because of course they have until the first of the year, and that's when funding's going to be cut off. So that's where the 12 Dogs of Christmas come in, that every week in their little local town newsletter, they feature another dog, and it is delightful. Ben is also a single dad to his niece. Her parents died in an accident a couple years earlier, so he's trying to learn how to be a parent and making sure he's doing it right, and everybody's he feels like he's on all these parenting boards online, and I really think that I'm not a parent, so I can't speak on that, but sometimes, those are not the best places to be, because they're just going to tell you what you're doing wrong. If you can keep your kid, in my opinion, if you can keep the kid alive, and they're healthy, and they're fed, and they've got a roof over their head, and clothing, you're doing good. You know what I mean? Especially if you're being thrust into something like this. So it was a really, really sweet and adorable romance. Did I say I gave it 4.5 stars? I gave it 4.5 stars. It was a delight. The cover that I'm showing you guys is actually, I think, the UK cover. And I have to admit, I like it better than the North American cover. But it's so cute. Oh my! But you guys know I have an affinity to the UK covers. They tend to be my favorite. But yeah, this was so adorable. If you like small town contemporary romance, this was a clean story too. I'm trying to remember absolutely, and I'm pretty sure it was a clean story. So go into it knowing that you meet a lot of other characters that you know are going to appear in the books to come, which is always so much fun when you're meeting residents of a small town. Highly recommend this Christmas one. The next one that I finished, okay, I actually have a physical copy of it. Where'd I put it? Over here. Yay! I read, oh my gosh, you guys, why did I wait until this year to read this? Because I bought this last year. I read Pumpkinheads by Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. So Rowell wrote the story, and Faith Erin Hicks does the artwork for this. So this is a YA graphic novel. Clearly, it's a graphic novel. Clearly. And it was just, I gave this one 5 stars, you guys. It was so cute. The one morning this week, I was up early. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. It was probably Wednesday because I think it was the day. Yeah, it was Wednesday because the next day I had to go to the dentist. But I was up early, and I hadn't started my next book yet, and I was just kind of looking at this one. I'm like, you know what? I'll read this one today. Like, take it to work with me and stuff. I read it in like 45 minutes, sitting at my kitchen table drinking my coffee in the morning. It was that quick. And I mean, like, it's a contemporary graphic novel. So the entire story is about our two main characters, Deja and is it Josiah or Josiah? That's not how you say that name. It's a biblical name. I know you guys know. I'm sorry, you guys know sometimes I have a problem pronouncing things. Josiah, am I saying that right? She calls him Josie. So essentially what it is, it's this really, really awesome fall fair kind of an idea. And I think that's what made me love it so much, is because I am missing this year going to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. I am still so sad about that. It would have been this weekend coming. It's my first year in 6 years that I've missed it, and I am just beyond sad about that. I'm beyond sad about not seeing my friends and not experiencing this great fall fair. So it's like this 1 month long or 2 month long, maybe it starts in September, and it wraps up on Halloween night. And it's this great fall fair in whatever state that they are in. And these two characters met as freshmen, like they started out in high school working at this place, and they work together every year. And this is their last year. They're both seniors, and they're going to be going off to college, so they will not be coming back to work there, next year, because they'll be away at college. And essentially it takes place over the course of one night of Halloween night. Now, saying that, it's not necessarily Halloween. There are some like kids dressed up for trick-or-treating and stuff, and it's got that very fall vibe, but it's not a Halloween vibe. That's at least what I got out of it. And Josie, we'll call him, because I can't say his actual name. He has been in love with, as they call her, the fudge girl, like who works at like the fudge place, but has yet to talk to her in the 3 or 4 years that they've worked there. So Deja is like, dude, this is your last shot. You got to do something. So, they're on a mission to find her wherever it is, and so they can talk to each other. And it was a delight. This book was so cute. It has a map in the front. Like, come on. Of this fair. It's delightful. Oh my gosh. And all she wants to do is eat all the tasty treats, which, she's my girl, because that would be me too. I'd be like the cider donuts, and there was like this pumpkin pie that was like deep fried. I'm like, can I have that, please? Kettle corn. This made me crave kettle corn so much, because at the New York Sheep and Wool, there's the sellers who sell the popcorn, and you get these massive bags of the kettle corn. And I've been craving it so much. And side note, I went to Walmart. Garrett and I went to Walmart yesterday, and I was thinking about kettle corn. And Great Value, the Walmart brand, actually makes a bag of kettle corn. Like, it's already popped. You don't have to pop it in the microwave or anything. And it tastes exactly like I get at the Sheep and Wool Festival. And I was so excited. So I love this. I can see this being a reread every fall, because it was just delightful. Did I tell you guys? It was a 5-star. This was an absolute 5-star read for me. I loved it, loved it, loved it. If you get a chance to pick it up, I highly recommend that you do so. Even if you're not necessarily a YA reader, this was just charming. Absolutely, utterly charming. The next book that I finished was A Lot Like Love by Julie James. This was book number 2 in the FBI U.S. Attorney series. I listened to this one on audio. It was narrated by the great Karen White. You guys know I'm a big fan of Karen White's narration, and I really like this one. So the premise of this series is, and I've read the first one, is essentially about FBI agents and the U.S. Attorney. In the first book, she was a U.S. attorney, he was an FBI agent. In this one, only he's the FBI agent, and the U.S. attorney does make an appearance, but she's not the female lead. The female lead is a woman by the name of Jordan, who is the billionaire heiress to some tech company or something. Her father, as she likes to joke throughout the book, she says, I don't have money. My father has money. So they need, the FBI needs her help, because she owns a wine shop. This takes place in Washington. Is it Washington? No, it's Chicago. I'm sorry, it takes place in Chicago. And Toronto's sister city, which is what I found out very, very recently, in case you're curious. Because I remember when I went to Chicago 3 years ago, I'm like, it seems a lot like, it just reminded me a lot of Toronto. And then I read something about sister cities, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, Toronto and Chicago are sister cities. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, sorry, complete side tangent. So she owns this wine shop in Chicago, and she's very good friends with this restaurant owner who also has like a wine bar or whatever. And they think he's working with like the mob, for lack of a better word. Like he's laundering money for some very bad dudes. So they need her help to infiltrate into his party so they can put tracking devices and stuff like that. So our FBI agent's name is Nick. And him and Jordan, of course, end up, having a fling. This one gets very, very hot and spicy. There were some great bits in this book that just made me laugh out loud. There was one where she's teaching him how to properly taste wine. Like, I don't know anything about wine. I'm not much of a drinker. Not that I have a problem with it. You do you. I just, because of the meds I'm on, it's just not advisable, unfortunately, because I do love me a good craft beer. But, so she's teaching him how to drink wine, like, sipping it and letting it breathe, and something about when you take that first sip, if you spit it out or you don't. And I'm listening to it. I'm giggling to myself at my desk at work. Because they got very, very, naughty with it. Let's put it that way. It was very naughty, but it was a really funny scene. And there was a great line in this book that I actually sent to my friend Rainey. I told her it because I know she's a big wine aficionado. And it said something like, wine because all your adulting is done for the day, or something like that. And I just thought that was so funny, and her and I thought it was hysterical. And we jokingly said we need that like stitched on a pillow, like cross-stitched on a pillow. This was a great book. I mean, if you have not read this series, you need to. It's I think it's done. I think there was 8 books in total. They can be read as standalones. You do not have to jump into any particular book. Do know that they're extra spicy, but they are really fun. And for those of you who have Audible Escape for the next 20 days, they are all available as part of the Audible Escape package, so maybe go ahead and listen to them while you can. Although we do not know what's happening with Audible Escape, that some of these titles may move over to the Audible Plus catalog, we shall see. But as for now, they are available to listen to there. The next book that I finished was Return of the Border Warrior by Blythe Gifford. I gave this one 3 stars. This I listened to actually on audio as well from the Audible Escape package. And it was narrated by Kathleen McCarran. Great job on this one. This is a Scottish Highlanders kind of book. It took place in the 1500s. It's a Harlequin historical. It's Harlequin historical number 1114, and it's the first book in the Brunson Clan trilogy. I will probably be going ahead and reading this next 2 books. So essentially the plot of this one is about this character by the name of John, and he's been gone he's been at the castle, like with the king, and being trained as a warrior, and now he's back at his parents' or his family estate on the borderlands in Scotland, I guess between Scotland and England, and he meets a woman by the name of Kate. And Kate has had a very brutal go of it over the last few years. her family's farm was attacked and her parents and siblings were killed and she was violated. And this book, I was reading a lot of other reviews on Goodreads, and a lot of people said what I was thinking too, is that this one should actually have trigger warnings in a way for those who have dealt with sexual assault, because she was. And the way she handles it, I thought it was very, very, very well written. It was really well written. Yeah, and I appreciated that part of the book. And of course, it's the romance between her and John and how they're kind of defending these borderlands and things like that. So it got 3 stars, mainly because I'm not a huge fan of that time period of like the medieval, time period. It's just not my favorite in history to read about, but it was still really well written and I thought it was very well done. So if that is your cup of tea, like, that's why I gave it 3 stars, because it was still really good. It just wasn't my favorite type of history to read about. But if it is for you, you might definitely want to check this one out, because I really think that people who like this time period would definitely enjoy this book. And the last book that I finished this week, I also have a physical copy of this one, is Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This is the first book in the St. Rosetta's Academy series. So, this book got 3.5 stars from me. For Sandhya Menon, that's low. You guys know I have loved her When Dimple Met Rishi, and 10 Things I Hate About Sweetie, and There's Something About Pink... There's Something About Pinky, and 10 Things I Hate About Sweetie? Yeah, I think that's the trilogy. And I love those books so much. They are YA contemporary, and they are a delight. So this one, even though the author herself has stated this is not fantasy, this definitely has magical elements. Definitely has magical elements. Right up until the end, when, something is kind of revealed, but I still feel that it had magical elements all the way through, including the end part. So what this story is about, it's about a girl, because it's a YA novel, about a girl by the name of Jaya, and a gentleman a guy. They're both seniors in high school. His name is Gray. And they both attend this school, St. Rosetta's Academy, which is in Colorado. And it is a very, very, very prestigious school. Very prestigious. I mean, the dropping of names and products and stuff was a little over the top for me, I feel. The one character is wearing a dress by Valentino, and she's talking about her Louis Vuitton. Is it Louis Vuitton? Not Louis Vuitton. Well, that too. But, those shoes with the red bottom? Can't remember the name of them at this point, but I think you guys know. If you ever watch Sex and the City, you know what I'm talking about. And how they've got the new Apple phone and this, that, and the other thing. And, for funsies, her family went on a trip to Switzerland. Now, she is part of the Indian royal family, even though there are no royal families technically anymore in India. It's explained at the beginning. It's more of like a show thing than an actual we have any kind of power thing. And he is the son of a duke, I think, in England. So many, like her great-great-grandparents, they had this ruby. And the ruby was stolen by his great-great-grandparents, kind of an idea. And her great-great-grandmother or whatever put a curse on this ruby. And Gray has always been led to believe, ever since he was a young boy from his father, that he was going to die on his 18th birthday. Now, I didn't say, but this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I have to say, it was really, really well done. The Beauty and the Beast retelling part of it was so good. It was so subtle, but it was clearly there, and it was really delightful. So, in the Beauty and the Beast story, there is a rose, and each time a petal falls from the rose, it gets closer to when the beast is going to die. So she has this necklace with rubies in it, and each ruby piece represents a petal. And so throughout the course of the story, she keeps losing petals off of this necklace, leading up to his 18th birthday. So that part of it was really well done. The only thing is that I just found, I will honestly say, I had a really hard time liking Jaya. There was something about her. I understand why she was the way she was, because she was the heiress, or not the heiress, but the princess to this dynasty or whatever, and she had a lot of kind of stuff riding on her shoulders, and she had to be very responsible, but she just seemed to be mean, and I just didn't like her. Him I liked. I did like Gray. I felt bad for him. He was blamed by his father for his mother's death because she died in childbirth, and that's a lot to saddle on a kid, and I mean, he was told this at a very young age. it wasn't a bad book, and I'm going to go on and read the second book in the series that should be coming out next year, I think, and I think it's another one of the main characters from this book's story. So it still takes place in the same school. I could have done without the ultra wealthy 1% of the population kind of thing that was going on with this. I didn't like that at all. It was just a little too much, I think, at points. I get that they're rich. I don't need it constantly kind of shoved down my throat in a way. But yeah, I mean, it was good, but it was no When Dimple Met Rishi. And I love those books by her. And so if you have never read Sandhya Menon, and you like YA contemporary, definitely start with From When Dimple Met Rishi, because you will not be disappointed, because that book is delightful. So that's all that I read this week. So what am I currently reading, you guys? Currently on audio, I have started reading, and I'm going to pop a picture of it up here, is When No One Is Watching. Is that what it's called? When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. So I'm about 2-ish hours through this, and it's being billed as a thriller, but I'm not really getting the thriller aspect of it just yet. There is some definite weird things going on with our main character, Sydney, but the whole premise of this book is about that she lives in this small community in Brooklyn, and Gifford Park, I think it's called, and it used to be a predominantly black community, and there is this new, what's the word I'm looking for, like some sort of company that's moving in, and they've bought out a plot of land or some old abandoned factory, and they're bringing in like jobs and things like that. So they're trying to revitalize, gentrify, is that the word I'm looking for, this community. And a lot of the people that Sydney grew up with are selling and moving out, and there are a lot of millennial type, new money type people moving in, and there's a lot of race structure or race issues going on in this book, excuse me. And I think this book came out at a really good time, considering what the current climate is right now with racial tension. And I'm really appreciating it. I'm liking it a lot. It's very, very eye-opening. Reading it is, of course, Alyssa Cole is a black author, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Even though like I said, I'm not seeing the thriller quite so much just yet, but because it's being labeled as a thriller, there are a few things that I think I've already figured out in terms of what Sydney's dealing with. So we shall see whether that comes to light. I should get it done tomorrow, so I am hopeful, but we shall see. But like I said, I am enjoying it. I'm a big, big fan of Alyssa Cole's writing. And the other book that I'm currently reading is around here somewhere. I'm kind of surrounded by books right now. I never normally have like physical books to show you guys, but I do this time. I am currently also reading Saving Mariana by Laurie Robinson. So that's what I wasn't sure about. I really, really wanted to read it, but I wasn't absolutely sure about it. So this is a historical romance novel set during the Salem witch trials. Because why not? Now, there is an author's note at the beginning stating that the author herself, is it one of her son or something like that, went and back and did like the family tree and found out that there were quote unquote witches in her family. So I don't know if it was whether something that she and her family, like way, way back, can trace her lineage back to one of the women who hung in Salem, as they like to say. It's, not a pleasant thing to say. But so essentially what this is about, it's about a woman by the name of Mariana, and she is an accused witch. And Richard is our male lead. He is a sea captain, and he was married to a woman who lived in Salem. And then she died during the smallpox epidemic, leaving behind their daughter named Grace. And Mariana saved Grace because she was living in the woods by herself. She was starving to death, very young little girl. And she saved her and then sent word to Richard that, I've got your daughter, kind of an idea. So now I'm just under halfway through it. I should get this one done today. Is that he's realizing kind of what's going on in town, because he's never lived in Salem. Like, his wife was from Salem, but he met his wife when she was traveling to the New World, and married her aboard ship, and then essentially was with her for a bit in Salem, but then left to go back to sea again. And so he's been gone for years, and he only ever saw his daughter once when she was an infant, and only ever saw the wife one other time, again when the daughter was an infant. So he doesn't really know what's happening and what the climate is in town with this new minister. So the characters that are being discussed are not the ones that actually, like Samuel Good and stuff like that. Like, if you are familiar at all with the history of the Salem witch trials, it's a subject that interests me greatly. And later on this month, I do plan on reading The Witches Salem 1692 by Stacy Schiff, which is another book, a fictionalization of the Salem witch trials. So the characters discussed in here are not the ones that we are familiar, and I don't even want to call them characters. They were real people in Salem. These were real people who were accused of things that they didn't do and sentenced to death for those crimes that they didn't commit. And so those people, those real people, do not, to the point that I'm at now, do not make appearances. The minister or reverend or whatever he is that is terrorizing this town is not the actual minister from that time period. Let's put it that way. So anyway, I'm giving kudos to the author for tackling this time period as a romance of all things, because when I think Salem witch trials, I do not think romance. But yeah, I know a lot of people panned this because it is a more sensitive topic, but because you're not dealing with the actual people, I'm able to take it with a grain of salt in a way. And Laurie Robinson, I'm a huge fan of her work. One of probably my favorite historical ever written, which was Diary of a War Bride, was written by her, and I loved it, and I keep encouraging everybody to read that one. But I will, of course, let you guys know more about this one next week when I get it done. So the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is, of course, my book haul. Should I do the book haul first? No, let's do New from Netgalley first, because that's in a way a book haul, isn't it? It's a digital book haul. So I got 1, 2, 3, I think it was 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 10. 10 new books this week from Netgalley. Oops. Well, I had none last week, so. So don't judge me, people. I can't stay off of Netgalley. It's an addiction. It's a thing. But I am reading through a lot of them. So, the first one that I got was All the Colors of the Night by Jane Ann Krantz. I'm a big fan of Jane Ann Krantz. This one comes out on January 5th, 2021. So thank you very, very much to Berkeley for sending me an e-art copy of this one to review. This is book number 2 in the Fog Lake series. The next one, I saw this one and I thought I'd give it a shot. I think I'm going to read it next month for Nonfiction November, is Ghost Towns of Route 66 by Jim Hickney. This comes out October 27th, so at the end of this month, by Voyager Press. So thank you very much to Voyager Press for sending me an e-arc of this one to review. And it's essentially going along Route 66 and seeing some of these small towns that no longer exist. And I'm a huge history buff, and I think stuff like this is super interesting, and I'm so excited to read this one. So like I said, this one is a definite, I think, for Nonfiction November. So you'll be hearing more about it next month for sure. The next one, this cover is so delightful, is The Footman and I by Valerie Bowman. This came out on June 30th, 2020. So I don't know why it just hit Netgalley now, but it did, so I'm excited about reading it. And thank you to June 3rd Enterprises for an e-art copy of this one. I believe it's self-published by the author. And this one is book number 1 in the Footman's Club series. So yay on this one very much. The next one, a Christmas book, is not a lot of Christmas books. Like, they seem to have ebbed off. I think a lot of them come out in September, October. So they're not putting a lot out now for like November, December, because they wanted to get ahead of the game, I guess. But this one is The Winter We Met by Samantha Tong. This one came out on October 8th, because today is now the 10th that I'm filming this. Came out a couple days ago. And thank you to Head of Zeus, which is being listed as the publisher. Then we have, this one looks so cute, and I was looking it up on Goodreads, and it's being really badly panned. So I'm a little nervous, but I still really want to read it. And it's called Joint Custody by Lauren Bratz Logstead and Jackie Logstead. This one comes out January 5th, 2021. Thank you very much to Berkeley for sending me this one. To my understanding, this is a kind of a retelling of the movie The Parent Trap, but from the dog's perspective. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Some people are saying, like, I try not to read reviews ahead of the game, but some people are saying it's just not done very well. But I read this author many, many, many years ago, and I am looking forward to this one. And the cover is just so delightful. The next one we have is The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher. This comes out December 29th. Thank you very much to Harlequin for sending me an e-art copy of this one. It's a thriller. The Wives, I I haven't read it yet. I know that's bad of me, but they're not part of the same, it's not a series or anything like that. You don't have to have read The Wives, but I heard a lot of mixed reviews about The Wives, so we shall see what I think about this one. I don't know anything about it. It's a thriller. I like to go into my thrillers not knowing anything about them, so we shall see what I think about this one. Next, we have Slow Burn by Janice Maynard. This comes out November the 10th. And thank you again to Harlequin for an e-art copy of this one to review. This is book number 7 in the 7th and final book in the 7th Sins series. Say that 3 times fast. Gorgeous cover. Again, the Desire covers are just stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. I think it's the dresses. I'm in love with the dresses. Next we have, love the title of this one, Fate and Witch by Angela M. Sanders. This one comes out on December the 29th, and thank you so much to Kensington, I can talk, Kensington, for sending me an e-arc copy of this book to review for you guys. It's a cozy mystery. It says it's the first in a series, but I don't know what the series is called. It doesn't say, so I'm interested, but it's a paranormal cozy, so that'll be a lot of fun. Next we have If You Keep Me by Sierra Knight. This comes out on October the 20th, and thank you to Author Collective 20. Again, it might be self-published, but this one looks really cute. I think it's a historical romance, actually. It's actually another holiday romance as well, so this one should be a lot of fun. And last but not least, this one is free this weekend, so if you're watching this video on Sunday and you're on Netgalley, you can go and grab this one. Forever has this one up for, not for free, excuse me, for read now on Netgalley, and that is Second Chance on Cypress Lane by Reese Ryan. This comes out on December the 1st, and thank you again so much to Forever for allowing me an e-art copy of this one to review. And this is the first book in the Holly Grove Island series, so it sounds like it's going to be a small town contemporary, which is always a lot of fun. So that is that. Let me close that off. So let's get into kind of my book haul / digital showing off of things. So I ordered a couple books this week because I have a problem. It's a good problem to have. The problem is that I don't have enough bookshelves. That's the problem. So I bought a couple of Christmas books. Now, this first one I actually have, pardon me, as an e-arc from Netgalley that I do plan on reading in November, but I saw the mass market and I love the cover and I'm like, I want to buy this. So I ended up getting A Highlander is Coming to Town, and this is by Laura Trentham. This is book number 3 in a Highland, Georgia novel series. I love this series. I have read the first 2 books in this series. Love them, so I'm very much looking forward to getting to this third one. Essentially, it is a small town contemporary, the small town in Georgia called Highland, and it's about actual Scottish Highlanders coming to this small town, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Who doesn't love a Scottish guy? I mean, come on. And that cover is delightful. Now, but I think this one is a little bit of a twist on that, because the first 2 books were guys, Highlanders from Scotland coming to the town. Whereas in this one, it's a local guy from town who you met in the first 2 books. And he, excuse me, and he is going to have a romance with a woman who is in a Scottish band. She's the lead singer of a Scottish band. And she's kind of hiding over the holiday season, trying to put her life together, I think. And they're going to have a romance. And I am so excited. So I'll be reading this one in print copy next month. And look at the, isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait to read that one. And the other one, this one, because I picked up the books from Chapters Indigo, which is Canada's version of Barnes & Noble, if you will. That's how I like to say it. And because I do have a membership to Indigo, to Chapters Indigo, that I paid for. I now I'm trying to utilize them as much as I can when I pick up physical books, because I get, I think, 10% off everything, even if the book is on sale, plus free shipping no matter how much I spend. So I am making it worth my while, and that's where I'm buying all my books from. But when that one, I put it in my cart, it said, oh, if you like that, you might like this. And I saw the cover and I went, oh, yes, please. And who doesn't love a big floppy trade paperback? So I got Finding Christmas by Karen Scholar, I think. Look at that cover, you guys. Is there nothing prettier than a gorgeous gazebo decked out for the holidays with a dog? A dog. Look at him. Oh, he's so pretty. Oh, my nails are a mess. Okay. So it says, from the writer of the Netflix hit A Christmas Prince and the Hallmark original movie Christmas Camp. So yay. So I'm looking forward to that one too. maybe I'll get to it this year. I don't know. I have a couple of other Christmas ones sitting here that I want to get to this year. Hello, Rayanne Thane, that I didn't read this one last year. But, yeah, this one may just have to get on the list for this year because it's just so pretty and I love it. So the other thing that I picked up this week, so we got a little bit of extra money this week that we were not anticipating. So found money is always fun money. So Garrett and I decided to spend a little bit each, and I wanted to upgrade. Now I have, and I've talked about this in a video before, the Kindle Fire 7, which is, oh, there I am, hi! So the 7-inch Kindle Fire. And I like it. I love this little device. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But, so because I use this as a tablet, not just for reading, I have an app that I use called Knit Companion that allows me to put my knitting patterns on it. Now this is a small screen. Let's be real. Like, this is a smaller screen. I'm trying not to, glare you guys out too much here, but it's a smaller screen. It's a 7-inch. So I went on Amazon and I looked, and I didn't want the 10 because the 10 is just far too big. The 8, though, I'm like, it's only an inch bigger. Is it really going to be that much of a difference? But it is. And it was on sale for $110 Canadian. So how could I say no? So I upgraded to the Kindle Fire 8. So same color on the back. I love the blue. Clearly, I love the blue. But yeah, so that's my new toy. My new digital. And guys, the bigger screen makes such a difference. Like, I am loving it. I think it's fantastic. So I've got all my apps on here, just like I talked about in my my Kindle, how I'm learning to love my Kindle Fire video. If you guys have not seen that yet, I will post it in the description box below. So I've got the Kindle, I've got Libby, I've got Scribed, Gloss, which I use to read the Harlequin books, the books that I buy from the Harlequin website as an ebook, of which I have, of which I have a lot. A lot. I have bought many, many books on ebook from the Harlequin website, and I need to read them on this app, and it's a great little app. The app itself as well, you guys, does text-to-speech. So if you guys are into text-to-speech, now you cannot speed it up, that's the only thing. But still, the fact that you have that ability is great. So yeah. So anyway, I have that app. Hold on, let me close that up. I have the eBox app, which I use oftentimes for reading my Netgalley books sometimes. I have Hoopla, Goodreads, my Google Drive, which I use because I was reading off of this just now for this video, for all my notes, my Knit Companion that I was talking about, and Google Chrome, and of course I sideloaded the Play Store to get all of these things. So yeah, and my pretty awesome autumn background. So yeah, so that was my new purchase, and I'm very, very happy with it. Now the other thing I can say is, surprisingly, the one thing I noticed about this that kind of drove me crazy is the battery on this does not last very long. It's usually a day. Like, it's not like I'm sitting and reading it all day long. But if I'm using it at a normal amount, like reading on my lunch, reading in the morning, reading at night, I oftentimes have to plug it in. Because even though I'll still have like 40% battery, it's not going to get me through the next day. Whereas this, I got this on Tuesday. So Tuesday night, I plugged it in and fully charged it. I still have 88% battery power left on it. So the power or the charge on this is really good. Now that could still be because it's new, but we shall see. But so far, I am absolutely loving it. So yay on that. So anyway, guys, this is a much longer video than normal. I do apologize. And it's living in my ardent admirations. Is that Jess's store's name? Jess from Peace Love Books. I bought this sleeve. So I had a case on this, but it was just way too bulky. I much prefer just to have it in here. And can I make it just a little side complaint, please? For those of you who make book sleeves, could you please make the size for a mass market paperback? Because no one makes them. I got this one from Books and a Sweater, who no longer, I noticed, I was going to add one of her to my cart. She no longer ships to Canada, so A, that's problem number 2. Please ship to Canada. If I'm willing to buy from you, it means I'm willing to pay the shipping. So it shouldn't be that big a deal. But anyway, that's besides the point. But no one makes these size. Now, this is the Kindle Paperwhite size, but it is the perfect size for a mass market paperback. There are a lot of people who read mass market paperbacks, but there's not nearly enough book sleeves unless I'm not finding them. So if anyone has a shop, if you personally have a shop that you sell the mass market paperback size or the Kindle Paperwhite size, please link it below because I will buy from you. Because I always carry my mass market paperbacks around and I want a book sleeve for them because they get damaged just as easily as anything else. But like every single store I seem to look at only makes like the bigger size or even the bigger size than this for your hardbacks. So anyway, sorry, that's my little rant about the book sleeves. I love book sleeves, but I need more in this size, you guys. So anyway, that's it for this video today. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. I have been vlogging this weekend, so stay tuned to see that on Tuesday. I've actually failed a bit at the vlogging. It's now Sunday afternoon, and what time is it? It's 3:45, and I haven't recorded since yesterday morning, so I'm going to have to do a little clip right now. And then, so that's going to go up on Tuesday, and then on Thursday will be finally my month-end wrap-up. I realized I did not buy that many ebooks in September, so I'm not going to do a video for that. I'm going to amalgamate those into my October. So I'll talk about those in October. My October and September, my September and October will be together. But on Thursday will be my month-end wrap-up. So anyway, I'm yammering on again. I will let you guys go. Thank you all so very much for watching as usual. And take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.